Picture this. You're a savvy professional.
Right.
You know your way around a spreadsheet. You probably know the basics of Photoshop, and you definitely understand what makes a killer video hook for a marketing campaign.
You're not a total novice, basically.
Exactly. You aren't a novice at all. But here is the massive, glaring problem that you face constantly. You absolutely do not have the time.
Yeah, time is the ultimate luxury.
It really is. Imagine you have a massive presentation in, say, exactly 3 hours, and you desperately need a stunning, highly professional infographic to explain a complex new workflow to your team.
Or, maybe you're trying to launch a new product line and you need B-roll footage for social media.
Right. You know what looks good? But you just don't have 4 hours to spend keyframing a 5-second video clip or tweaking lighting layers or color grading footage.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is. So if that specific feeling of being completely strapped for time, having the vision but lacking the hours to execute it manually, if that sounds familiar to you, then you are exactly where you need to be today.
It's a profound bottleneck in the modern professional world, really. The gap between the sophisticated ideas we have in our heads and the sheer manual labor required to execute them on a screen is where most great concepts just kind of go to die.
That's a great way to put it.
Because we are all expected to be multimedia powerhouses now, regardless of our actual job titles.
Exactly. But today, we are obliterating that bottleneck. Consider this deep dive your ultimate cheat code.
You like the sound of that?
Our mission today is straightforward, but incredibly powerful. We are going to decode exactly how you can go from being entirely reliant on expensive stock photos or hours of manual editing to generating professional, custom-tailored, breathtaking images and videos in literally minutes.
And we are not just speaking in broad philosophical hypotheticals today either.
No, we have the receipts.
We really do. We are pulling actionable intelligence directly from a remarkably comprehensive stack of notes. We've got our hands on 2 extensive prompt-packed documents from Everyday AI Made Simple.
Which are incredible, by the way.
They are. Combined, these materials contain over 100 ready-to-use, meticulously engineered prompts specifically designed for AI image and video generation. They are essentially blueprints.
Okay, so let's unpack this roadmap for our deep dive today, because we are going to get highly tactical. We are going to break down the different image and video prompt types from these notes. We will match them to the exact real-world scenarios where they absolutely shine, whether you're trying to survive corporate information overload, building a standout personal brand, or creating high-end cinematic storytelling for an ad.
And crucially, we are going to reveal which specific AI tools and large language models, the underlying brains powering these systems, are explicitly recommended for these exact jobs.
What's fascinating here is a fundamental shift in the landscape. Having access to an AI tool is no longer the competitive advantage it was, say, a year ago.
Right, everyone has access now. It's ubiquitous.
Exactly. The true advantage, the thing that separates a mediocre result from a breathtaking one, lies entirely in how you communicate with that tool. The notes make it very clear that the quality of your output is directly tied to the architecture of your prompt.
Which brings us perfectly to our first major takeaway. I want to talk about the golden rule of prompting. Because there is a massive disconnect between how people think they should talk to an AI versus how they actually need to talk to it.
Precisely. People often approach these incredibly sophisticated generative models as if they are mind readers.
Yeah, or they treat them like a human design agency where you can just hand over a vague brief and expect them to intuitively fill in all the blanks with good taste.
Right, they use what our breakdown calls a generic prompt. So let's look at the image example provided in the breakdown. A typical user, maybe you, needs a graphic about sleep for a health and wellness campaign. So you type, create an infographic about sleep.
And you hit enter.
You hit enter and you wait. And what you usually get back is a cluttered, unreadable mess.
Ugh, it's always a mess.
It might have weird melting clocks, text that looks like an alien language, and just a chaotic layout that you could never show to a client.
Ever?
But then the notes give us the after version, the highly specific master prompt. Listen to the difference here. Create a vertical infographic, 9.16 for Instagram stories, about 7 science-backed tips for better sleep.
Notice the dimensions right up front.
Yes. It continues. Use a dark blue and sauce purple color scheme to evoke nighttime. Include a simple icon for each tip, numbered 1 to 7. Style should be modern and minimalist with clean sans serif typography. All text must be clearly legible at mobile viewing size. Include a small source attribution at the bottom.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to understand why this level of extreme specificity matters so much. AI models, at their core, are literal interpretation engines.
Literal interpretation.
They do not possess human intuition, context, or an inherent sense of good design. They operate within what computer scientists call a latent space.
Okay, latent space. What is that exactly?
You can think of it as an unimaginably massive, multidimensional library containing every possible combination of pixels, colors, and shapes.
Okay, wait. I want to push back on this a little bit on behalf of the listener.
Sure.
Because if I have to spend 10 minutes writing a miniature novel just to get a picture of a sunset or a sleep graphic, doesn't that completely defeat the purpose of an AI shortcut? Why wouldn't I just go to a stock photo site, search sleep infographic, and download one in 30 seconds?
That is a very fair critique, and it's the exact hurdle most professionals face when they start. But here is why the stock photo approach ultimately fails. A stock photo is generic by definition.
Okay.
It will not have your brand's exact dark blue and soft purple color scheme. It will not have your specific 7 tips perfectly integrated. If you use a stock photo, you still have to take it into Photoshop, mask out their text, match the fonts, and manually insert your data.
Oh, right. I've done that so many times. It takes forever.
Exactly. What this master prompt does is eliminate the entire post-production phase. You are doing the work upfront in text, so the AI can deliver a finished, fully customized asset.
Ah, I see. So it's about shifting the labor. You aren't avoiding the work, you are just doing it in a text box instead of a complex design software.
Exactly. And returning to that concept of the latent space, that infinite library of pixel combinations. If you just ask for an infographic about sleep, you are throwing a dart blindly into that massive library.
Hoping for the best.
Right. The AI is forced to guess what you want, and statistically speaking, across the billions of mathematical parameters it considers, it will usually guess wrong for your specific professional needs. It might grab a cartoon style when you wanted corporate, or horizontal when you needed vertical.
Right, because you didn't tell it not to.
Precisely. By defining the dimensions as 9.16, you instantly eliminate all horizontal and square formats from its search. By specifying dark blue and soft purple, you bypass the AI's random color generation.
So no neon green and orange sleep graphics.
Exactly. You are effectively building a rigid fence around the AI's creativity, forcing it to innovate only within the strict parameters that serve your business goal.
I absolutely love that visual of building a fence. You're corralling the AI. And it applies to video just as much, if not more. The notes give us a brilliant video example to illustrate this. The generic prompt is just create a video of a sunset.
So simple. Too simple.
Again, if you type that, you might get something passable, but it's probably generic, maybe a bit blurry, or the sun is moving at a weird, jittery speed. Now, let's look at the masterclass version from our text.
Let's hear it.
Create a 16.9 cinematic video of a sunset over the ocean, 8 seconds long. Include a time-lapse effect showing the sun slowly descending toward the horizon with vibrant orange, pink, and purple clouds. Camera should be static, positioned low to include silhouetted beach grass in the foreground. Color grade should be warm and saturated. The clip should feel peaceful and awe-inspiring.
That is a phenomenal example because it highlights the transition from being a passive user to being an active director.
Yes, an active director.
You aren't just asking for a subject. You are defining the camera placement. You are defining the focal length implicitly by mentioning the foreground grass. You are controlling the temporal speed with the phrase time-lapse effect.
You're setting the exact duration.
And you are even programming the emotional resonance with words like peaceful and awe-inspiring.
It really is a completely different mindset. You aren't searching, you are commanding.
Exactly. The more specific the prompt, the closer the final result is to your original vision. This is the foundational skill for everything else we are going to explore today. You have to learn to speak the language of boundaries and constraints.
Okay, so now that we know how to talk to these tools, let's dive into the actual arsenal of image generation prompts. And we are starting with what our notes categorize as the information and business arsenal.
This is a great section.
It is. This is for when you, the listener, need to synthesize complex information, impress your colleagues, and look incredibly well prepared. Even if you are handed a 50-page technical document an hour before a major stakeholder meeting.
For this specific category of tasks, which includes heavy infographics, detailed diagrams, and text-heavy visual summaries, the breakdown explicitly recommends a very specific model. Google's Nano Pro, which is available within their Gemini ecosystem.
Now let's pause here. Why Nano Pro specifically? Because from what I understand, and from my own frustrating experiences, AI and text have historically been sworn enemies.
They really have.
You ask an AI for a simple neon sign that says coffee, and it confidently hands you back a beautiful image of a sign that says koofy, with like 3 O's and 3 E's. It's gibberish.
It has been a massive historical challenge, yes. To understand why, we need a quick analogy about how these specific AI image generators, known as diffusion models, actually work.
Please break it down for us, because I never understood why it couldn't just spell.
Imagine asking a brilliantly talented painter who has absolutely no understanding of the English language to paint a picture of the word coffee. They don't know what the letters C, O, F, or E actually mean phonetically. They are just trying to recreate the visual shapes of those letters based on thousands of reference photos they've seen of coffee shop signs.
So they're just drawing shapes.
Exactly. They know there are usually curvy lines and straight lines. So they paint a beautiful photorealistic sign, but because they don't understand spelling, they just throw in some extra curvy shapes, resulting in koofy.
Oh, wow.
Diffusion models generate images pixel by pixel based on visual patterns. They don't process text as linguistic data.
That makes so much sense. It's painting the idea of text, not writing actual words.
Exactly. But the notes highlight that Google's Nano Pro excels precisely where older models failed. It has a fundamentally different underlying architecture that better bridges the gap between visual generation and linguistic understanding.
So it actually knows what the letters mean.
It's uniquely capable of generating infographics with readable, accurate text, structuring complex visual summaries, and creating detailed educational diagrams where the labeling actually corresponds to the correct parts of the image. When you need the text to do heavy lifting alongside the visuals, Nano Pro is the recommended engine.
Okay, that is a game changer. So let's talk about real-world scenarios from the prompt pack. Scenario 1, surviving information overload.
This happens to everyone.
Imagine this. You just sat through a grueling 2-hour quarterly planning meeting, or you just finished reading a massive, dense podcast transcript. Normally, you'd send out a boring, bulleted email summary that absolutely no one on your team will ever read.
We'll just delete it.
Exactly. But with this tool, you can use a specific prompt to generate a custom, hand-drawn sketch note.
Looking at the breakdown for these specific prompts, the level of detail required to achieve this specific look is fascinating. You don't just paste your notes and ask for a summary picture.
Right, that's the generic way.
You instruct the model to use a pristine white paper background with no lines to ensure a clean canvas. You define the art style explicitly as graphic recording or visual thinking. You even dictate the physical medium to the AI, asking for black ink fine liners for clear outlines and specifying marker colors for shading, like teal, orange, and muted red.
Yes. You literally paste your meeting notes right into the prompt box and tell the AI to center the main title in a 3D style box, surround it with radially distributed doodles, stick figures, and data graphs, and connect related ideas with hand-drawn arrows.
It completely changes the cognitive experience of how your team digests the information. Instead of a wall of text, they get a spatial, visual map of the meeting.
It looks like you hired an expensive professional graphic recorder to stand in the corner of your boardroom with a giant whiteboard.
And this leads directly into the second business scenario, explaining complex ideas.
Think about trying to explain how blockchain technology works to a new client, or explaining the anatomy of the human heart for a medical presentation to an audience with zero prior background.
The notes highlight specific how it works explainer prompts for this. The structure of the prompt instructs the AI to break down the process into 4 to 6 simple chronological steps. But the real magic, the element that makes it functional for business, is in the constraints. You have to explicitly tell the AI to keep text minimal but informative.
Why is that so crucial? If Nano Pro is good at text, shouldn't we let it write paragraphs?
It is a critical constraint because of cognitive load theory.
Okay, unpack that for us.
Even with a highly capable model, you do not want to overload a visual generation with dense paragraphs of text. A visual's job is to explain relationships at a glance. You must rely on the visual hierarchy. The prompt for the anatomy visual, for example, specifies a central, highly detailed diagram, clearly labeled parts, arrows showing the flow of blood, and vitally, it mandates color coding to differentiate components.
Right, so the oxygenated blood is clearly red and the deoxygenated is blue, and the viewer doesn't have to read a paragraph to figure that out.
Exactly. If we connect this to the psychology of learning, color coding drastically reduces the time it takes for a viewer's brain to process and understand the relationships within a complex diagram. It bypasses the reading center of the brain and goes straight to visual processing.
That's brilliant.
The prompt, by insisting on color coding, is actually doing the psychological design work for you.
So what does this all mean for daily, rapid-fire business operations? That brings us to scenario 3, data visualization.
This is a big one.
Let's say you have a key statistic you need to hammer home in a pitch deck to secure funding. Say 78% of customers prefer self-service. If you just put that as text on a slide, it's boring.
Nobody remembers it.
The guides show you how to use a specific prompt to turn that dry number into a massive, prominent visual hero graphic, maybe incorporating a sleek pie chart or minimalist icons, giving the statistic real emotional impact.
Or there's another prompt for generating clean organizational charts and process flow diagrams. Just paste in your text-based company hierarchy, and boom, you have a polished org chart.
However, there is a crucial technical tip here that the guides emphasize, and it's a matter of managing expectations.
Right.
Yes. Even with highly recommended advanced models like Nano Banana Pro, AI still occasionally struggles with the finer points of typography and layout.
It's not perfect yet.
A best practice embedded in every single one of these business prompts is to explicitly write the phrase, "All text must be legible and clearly readable."
It's like reminding the AI to double-check its work.
It acts as a strict, hard guardrail for the LLM during the generation process. And the text advises a degree of patience. You must expect that while the layout and the graphics will be stunning, a word here or there might still require a quick manual touch-up in a basic design tool like Canva or PowerPoint.
It is an iterative process.
Exactly. You were getting 95% of the way there in 10 seconds, but you still have to review the final 5%.
That's a very fair trade-off. 10 seconds of AI generation and 2 minutes of fixing a typo versus 4 hours of building an org chart from scratch. I'll take that deal every time.
Any day. Okay, let's shift our focus. We've conquered the boardroom, we've organized the dense data. Now, I want to move into a space where these tools transition from being purely functional, everyday utilities to becoming incredibly fun, surprising, and aesthetically stunning. Let's talk about image generation for creative flair, maps, and personal branding.
The scenarios outlined here go far beyond standard photography or simple business charts.
They really do. Let's examine scenario 1 in this creative category, location visuals. This involves maps and floor plans.
Right. Let's say you are writing a travel blog, or maybe you're designing a welcome brochure for a corporate retreat. The notes detail exactly how to create a 3D landmark map of a city like Paris.
But the master prompt doesn't just lazily say, "Make a map of Paris."
No, it explicitly asks the AI to render major tourist attractions, like the Eiffel Tower and the Louvre, as oversized 3D illustrations popping off the page.
It asks for a simplified, stylized street layout so it doesn't look like a messy Google map.
It mandates a warm, inviting color palette and demands practical, functional elements like a north compass arrow and a scale indicator.
And there are more localized applications, too. Consider the event venue map prompt.
That one is so practical.
Imagine you are planning an outdoor wedding or a large corporate campus event. You can prompt the AI to create a custom visual map outlining the walking pathways, the main ceremony or keynote location, the reception area, and the restrooms.
But the key is that you instruct it to perfectly match your specific event's color scheme and thematic branding.
What I find amazing about that is it's actually solving a really hard design problem.
It absolutely is. What is particularly clever about these map prompts is that they force the AI to combine rigid spatial logic with subjective artistic rendering.
It's synthesizing a functional, accurate navigational tool with a beautiful aesthetic illustration.
Historically, achieving that specific balance is a highly specialized, very time-consuming task for human illustrators.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Let's look at scenario 2, the fun stuff, specifically focusing on personal branding. I absolutely love this concept from the guide. There's a master prompt called the themed career map.
Yes, the application for professional networking platforms, particularly LinkedIn, is quite innovative here. It addresses a very modern problem, algorithmic invisibility.
Let me set the stage for you, the listener. You have a LinkedIn profile. It's probably a dry, bullet-pointed list of jobs you've held, just like the millions of other profiles out there.
And people scroll right past it.
But imagine this. You take your resume, you save it as a simple PDF, and you upload it directly into your AI tool. Then you use this themed career map prompt. You tell the AI to generate a highly illustrated visual map of your career journey, but, and here's the twist, you tell it to do it in the theme of an epic video game adventure, or a fantasy world like The Lord of the Rings.
The prompt architecture here is brilliant. You aren't just changing the art style, you are instructing the AI to functionally translate your corporate experience into a new narrative vocabulary.
Exactly. You instruct the AI to turn your past boring desk jobs into epic quests. You turn your promotions into unlocked achievements. You turn your key software skills into magical abilities or special powers.
The AI outputs this incredibly fun, highly shareable, visually stunning story map of your career.
It acts as a massive pattern breaker. When someone is mindlessly scrolling through a sea of blue and white corporate text on LinkedIn and they suddenly hit a high fantasy map of a career trajectory, they are going to stop scrolling. They are going to look.
This raises an important question, though, about aesthetic choice and control. The notes provide a deeply detailed visual style cheat sheet, because knowing what artistic style to ask for in your prompt is often half the battle.
Yeah, if you simply ask an AI for an image without specifying a style, the latent space naturally defaults to a very generic, hyper-polished, almost slightly plastic AI look that people are becoming increasingly blind to.
You have to firmly command the aesthetic to get something unique.
Yes. Let's break down that cheat sheet. How do you match the exact style to the exact scenario? Let's say you want something professional and clean for a serious corporate pitch deck.
The note suggests explicitly asking for styles like flat illustration, minimalist, vector art, or isometric. Let's focus on isometric for a moment.
Sure.
An isometric style provides a specific 3D-like angle, typically from a top-down, slightly skewed perspective, using very clean, rigid lines without vanishing points.
It's very distinct.
It is absolutely perfect for business process diagrams, architectural layouts, or complex tech explainers. Why? Because it conveys a sense of extreme precision, order, and structural integrity without any visual clutter. It looks highly engineered.
Okay, but what if you want to lower the corporate shield? What if you want something fun and playful for a team-building invite or a casual brand? The cheat sheet recommends prompting for styles like 90s cartoon, chibi, or claymation.
The psychological impact of these styles is profound. Chibi, which is an anime-adjacent style featuring characters with cute, oversized heads and simplified, expressive facial features, is excellent for lighthearted branding. Or creating approachable team avatars for a Slack channel.
And claymation.
Claymation, on the other hand, prompts the AI to introduce a handmade, tactile texture with realistic lighting and cute, subtle imperfections. It mimics physical clay. When you use claymation for a corporate graphic, it immediately disarms the viewer. It makes the content feel warm, human, and highly approachable, contrasting sharply with slick corporate graphics.
And if you are in the tech space, say you are a SaaS company or a developer, the guides say you should prompt for cyberpunk, low-poly 3D, or geometric.
Cyberpunk instantly gives you those gritty, high-contrast neon city lights and dark backgrounds.
While low-poly 3D gives you those sharp, faceted, modern geometric shapes that scream cutting-edge software and digital native design.
Beyond just naming the style, there is a critical pro tip included in our notes regarding how you dictate these creative elements. Precision in your language is paramount.
Okay, give us an example.
For example, do not lazily tell the AI you want the background color to be blue. In the latent space, blue could mean anything from a pastel baby blue to a dark, muddy midnight blue.
Right.
You must give it exact hexadecimal color codes like #000080, or use highly descriptive modifiers like deep navy blue or vibrant teal.
Don't leave room for interpretation.
Exactly. Furthermore, the notes advise that you should strategically layer your requests. For complex, highly creative images, do not expect to write one massive paragraph and get absolute perfection on the first generation.
It is a dialogue.
Start with a simpler prompt to establish the foundational layout and the primary subject. Once you have an image where the structure is correct, you use follow-up prompts to the AI to iterate. Add specific background elements, adjust the direction of the lighting, or refine the intensity of the artistic style.
We've covered a massive amount of ground on how precise you have to be to get an AI to draw a simple, static pie chart or a map. But what happens when you introduce the element of time?
That changes everything.
What happens when that pie chart needs to spin or a camera needs to pan across that map? That brings us to the wild west of our deep dive. We are transitioning into video generation.
This is where it gets really incredible.
And I have to admit, the idea of generating realistic moving video just by typing text into a box still feels like pure science fiction to me. But as the guides point out, you require absolutely no video editing skills, no knowledge of timelines or keyframes to do this. However, the rules of engagement are entirely different from image generation.
They are drastically different. When you move from image to video, you are no longer just dealing with a flat grid of pixels. You are introducing the elements of time, physics, motion, and the most difficult hurdle of all, temporal consistency.
Okay, let's do a quick explainer on that. What exactly is temporal consistency and why is it the nightmare of AI video?
Temporal consistency basically refers to the AI's ability to remember exactly what an object or a person or a background looks like from one single frame of video to the next. Video is just 24 or 30 still images played every second.
Right.
Older, early AI video models struggled massively with this. They would draw a perfectly fine coffee cup in frame 1. But by frame 10, the AI would slightly forget the exact shape, and the coffee cup would morph into a soup bowl, or a person's hand would suddenly grow a sixth finger as it moved across the screen.
Maintaining the rigid physical reality of an object as it moves through time, that consistency is the hardest computational puzzle in AI video right now.
To solve that puzzle, the notes recommend a very specific suite of heavy-hitting models. We are looking at Google's Veo, which is integrated into Gemini, alongside standalone powerhouse models like Runway, Pika, Sora, and Kling.
That's quite a formidable lineup. Do they all basically do the exact same thing?
The documentation notes that each model has distinctly different strengths depending on their underlying training data. Some, like Sora, excel at incredibly long, photorealistic environmental shots.
Others, like Runway, offer incredibly granular control over specific camera movements or the ability to animate specific parts of a still image.
However, despite their differences, they all share the current technological constraints of the medium. The most vital piece of advice from our notes is this: current AI video tools work best with short clips.
Specifically in the tightly constrained 3 to 15-second range.
And simple focused scenes.
Keep it tight.
Exactly. You want to aim for one clear subject or one singular clear action per prompt. If you write a prompt asking for a complex narrative, like multiple characters having a conversation, walking through a crowded restaurant, and exchanging items in a 60-second clip, the illusion will completely break down.
The temporal consistency will fail, objects will morph, and it will look like a surreal fever dream.
It will be completely unusable.
Got it. Keep it short. Keep it intensely focused. So let's look at scenario 1 for video, mastering the social media scroll with hooks and transitions. If you are creating an Instagram reel or a TikTok for your brand, the first 3 seconds are absolute life or death for your engagement metrics. If they don't stop scrolling immediately, your video is dead.
Prompts 1.1 and 1.2 in the guide are engineered specifically for this survival. The architecture of prompt 1.1, the Instagram reel hook, is fascinating because of its psychological intent.
It doesn't just ask the AI for a video of a desk.
It explicitly asks for eye-catching movement that immediately stops the scroll. The specific visual example given in the notes is a close-up of a hand placing a steaming coffee cup onto a sleek wooden desk, just as sharp morning light streams in through a window, illuminating the steam.
It's a simple, universal, highly relatable morning ritual, but the focus is entirely on the motion and the lighting to grab attention.
And then there's the TikTok transition prompt. This is so smart. It scripts out 2 distinct, separate video clips that you generate one after the other.
Yes, break this down.
Scene 1 is a prompt for a person reaching directly toward the camera lens with an open palm. The intended transition point is the moment the hand completely covers the lens, plunging the screen into darkness.
Then you prompt scene 2. This is the reveal. Scene 2 starts in darkness, and the prompt asks for the hand to pull away from the lens, but now it reveals a completely different, breathtaking location.
Like a white sand beach at sunset or a bustling neon city.
You just generate those 2 short 4-second clips, drop them into a basic app on your phone, put them back to back, and you have a flawless viral style transition.
It is a brilliant workaround for the limitations of AI. Instead of asking the AI to magically transition a scene, which it would likely fail at, you are engineering a physical cut point.
Crucially, though, the notes emphasize a massive technical hurdle you must address in these prompts, specifying the aspect ratio. What is an aspect ratio?
It is simply the proportional relationship between the width and the height of your video.
Right, a square versus a rectangle.
Correct. You must explicitly tell the AI to format these social media clips as a 9.16 vertical video. If you do not include those numbers, the AI model will almost certainly default to a standard 16.9 widescreen format, like a TV screen.
A widescreen video is entirely useless for mobile-first, vertical platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels. It will look tiny on a phone screen and people will scroll right past it. You must control the frame.
So true. It's the little details that ruin the output. Moving to scenario 2, product and business B-roll. Producing high-quality professional B-roll, those smooth secondary shots used to establish a scene or show off a product, used to require renting expensive RED cameras, setting up complex three-point lighting, and booking studio time.
Now look at prompts 2.1 and 2.3. You can generate a flawless product showcase spin. You literally tell the AI a sleek white wireless earbud case resting on a minimalist white pedestal, rotating smoothly 360 degrees.
And you add the crucial lighting modifier, soft diffuse studio lighting with subtle, premium reflections on the plastic.
You are describing a shot that would take a professional product videographer half a day to set up and light perfectly.
Exactly. Or, for a corporate presentation, maybe you are launching a new internal software and you want some modern workspace B-roll to play in the background. The prompt specifically instructs you to ask for a diverse group of professionals collaborating, pointing at a glass whiteboard, captured with a gentle camera drift.
Let's pause on that instruction for a gentle camera drift. That is vital. If you just ask for people at a whiteboard, the AI might give you a completely static, locked-off shot. It will feel like a photograph that happens to be moving slightly.
By commanding a gentle camera drift, a slow, subtle movement of the camera's perspective, you give the footage that professional, high-end, dynamic documentary feel. It adds production value through text.
I love that. You are directing the invisible cameraman. And scenario 3 really shows off the intellectual brainpower of these specific video tools. Educational concept visualization. Sometimes you have an abstract, complex concept that is incredibly hard to explain with just words or a static chart.
Yes. Prompts 3.1 and 3.2 tackle this challenge through the use of visual metaphors and sequential step-by-step processes.
Exactly. Let's say you are making a video about finance, and you need to explain the concept of compound interest. It's a dry topic. Instead of a chart, you prompt the AI to create a visual metaphor. You tell it to show a small green plant sprouting from the soil. And as the 10-second video progresses, the plant grows and branches out rapidly.
And crucially, those new branches immediately grow their own branches.
You can even instruct the AI to use vibrant greens to represent rapid growth and perhaps subtle gold lighting to subconsciously represent wealth and money. It takes a complex mathematical concept and makes it instantly, intuitively understandable to a viewer in just 10 seconds.
Or, on a more practical level, you can generate a beautifully lit, highly detailed step-by-step instructional video. The notes give the example of how to make a perfect pour-over coffee.
You prompt for specific sequential shots. The water boiling, the blooming of the coffee grounds, the precise circular pouring motion of the kettle.
What makes these educational prompts effective is that they command a clear visual progression over time. You are instructing the AI to start with a simple state and visually build complexity over the duration of the clip.
Okay, we've covered the practical business and the fast-paced social media applications of AI video. Now it's time to unleash the absolute full power of these models. We are entering part 5 of our deep dive: cinematic storytelling, special effects, and what our breakdown brilliantly refers to as the grammar of film.
This is for when you want high-end, breathtaking aesthetics. This is Hollywood-level generation.
This is where we fully graduate from merely generating short clips to actually directing scenes. Scenario 1 in this section focuses heavily on cinematic and character moments.
Let's look at prompts 6.1 and 6.4. Imagine you are trying to set a moody, atmospheric tone for a pitch video, or maybe you are storyboarding a short film. You can generate a flawless establishing shot.
The specific example from the text is a prompt for a rainy, cyberpunk-style city street at night, focusing heavily on the vibrant neon signs reflecting beautifully in the puddles on the wet pavement.
Or you can generate a powerful emotional reveal. You prompt the AI to hold the camera steadily in a tight close-up on a character's face, capturing a sudden reaction of profound joy or subtle heartbreak or a sudden dawning realization.
The level of emotional control is astounding, provided you use the right descriptive words. And this precise control extends perfectly into scenario 2. Food and special effects, or what the advertising industry refers to as the hero shots.
Oh, the food prompts in this guide are absolutely incredible. Prompts 9.1 and 9.4. You can prompt an ingredient hero shot. Picture this perfectly ripe, fresh strawberries tumbling out of the air onto a pristine white marble surface, splashing into a shallow pool of water, captured in ultra-slow motion.
Or a dramatic, mouth-watering food reveal where a sleek silver knife cuts into a rich chocolate lava cake and the thick molten center slowly flows out, perfectly backlit to highlight the steam. It genuinely makes you hungry just reading the structure of the prompt.
And Prompt 10.1 pushes the boundaries even further into pure fantasy, detailing exactly how to generate complex magic effects that would normally require a team of VFX artists. Things like ethereal, glowing light trails swirling around a product, or crackling energy gathering in someone's palms.
But to get these jaw-dropping results, you can't just type, "make a cool video of a cake." And this brings us to the Experts Masterclass section of our deep dive. Because the notes provide a massive deep dive into the actual technical grammar of video prompts.
This raises a profoundly important question for anyone using these tools. If the AI is a literal interpretation engine, as we discussed with the latent space, how do we possibly describe the subjective feeling or the dynamic motion of a blockbuster movie?
How do you translate that to text?
The answer is that you must completely adopt the specific, technical vocabulary of a Hollywood movie director. You cannot leave camera movements, playback speeds, or aspect ratios vague. If you do, the AI will default to a boring, static, generic look.
Let's break that masterclass down, piece by piece, starting with camera movements. The text gives us a specific glossary of terms that we must use in our prompts to control the virtual camera. Let's contrast a few of these.
Indeed. Understanding the emotional impact of these movements is key. Let's say you want to create a feeling of intense intimacy or perhaps high tension, focusing the viewer entirely on a subject's emotion. You must instruct the AI to use a dolly-in or a push-in.
This tells the AI to physically move the virtual camera slowly and smoothly closer to the subject over time. It forces the viewer to pay attention.
It's like the camera is leaning in to hear a secret.
Exactly. Conversely, a pull-out or dolly-out does the opposite. The camera moves backward, away from the subject. This is used to reveal the vast scale of an environment, to show a character's isolation within a large space, or to provide sudden context that the viewer didn't have at the beginning of the shot.
What about for products, like that earbud case we talked about earlier?
If you are showcasing a three-dimensional product, you do not want a static shot. You ask the AI for an orbit. This commands the virtual camera to smoothly circle entirely around the subject, keeping the product perfectly centered while revealing every angle and how the light plays across its surface.
And what if I want something really aggressive and fast, like I'm making a high-energy sports promo?
Then you would use a whip pan. This instructs the AI to abruptly, violently pan the camera horizontally from one subject to another, creating a heavy motion blur. It is incredibly energetic and is perfect for fast transitions between scenes.
Different models handle these differently. For example, Runway is currently known for having very robust, specific slider controls for exactly this kind of precise camera motion, making it an excellent choice for dynamic scenes.
Okay, so that's camera movement, but then there is video speed. You literally have to tell the AI how fast time itself should move within the video.
Time is a variable you must control. For highly emotional character moments, or to capture complex liquid dynamics like the molten lava cake flowing, or a slow-motion beverage pour that looks luxurious, you must explicitly request slow motion or high-speed framing. This stretches time, making the mundane look epic.
And on the flip side,
if you are showing a long, arduous process, or you want to show the passage of time like massive storm clouds rolling over a mountain range or a bustling city intersection from day to night, you request a time-lapse or hyperlapse. And for standard, authentic, everyday interactions where you just want it to look like real life, you must specify real time so the AI doesn't accidentally stylize the speed.
Finally, let's talk about the frame itself aspect ratios. We talked about the crucial 9.16 vertical ratio for social media earlier. And if you are doing a standard YouTube video or a corporate PowerPoint presentation, you would prompt for the standard 16.9 landscape rectangle. But here is the absolute real pro tip hidden in this guide.
Yes, the cinematic ratio.
Exactly. If you want that massive, sweeping, ultra-premium Hollywood blockbuster film look, you explicitly instruct the AI to generate the video in a 2.39.1 cinemascope aspect ratio.
The psychological effect of that specific aspect ratio is undeniable.
It really is. It gives you that super wide, beautifully letterboxed look with the black bars on the top and bottom. It instantly tricks the human brain into feeling like it's watching a massive, high-budget movie in a theater rather than a cheap internet video.
It is the deliberate synthesis of all these granular elements, the specific lighting cues, the precise camera movement, the manipulated speed of time, and the exact framing ratio that elevates an AI generation from a random lucky computation into a deliberately crafted professional piece of media. You are no longer just rolling the dice, you are engineering an outcome.
Okay, let's unpack everything we have covered today because we have gone through an absolute masterclass, diving deep into the mechanics of these everyday AI prompt packs. What is the core, undeniable takeaway for you, the listener? It is that successful AI image and video generation is much less about talking to a computer, and it is so much more about acting as a highly specific, uncompromisingly demanding art director.
Precisely. By explicitly specifying every single boundary, the dimensional format, the directional lighting, the exact hex code color palette, the specific artistic style, and the precise technical camera movement, you are seizing absolute command of these incredibly powerful models.
Whether you are leveraging Nano Banana Pro for a text-heavy, complex business infographic or pushing Veo or Sora to their limits for a photorealistic cinematic video, you are forcing the latent space to execute your exact vision for any given scenario.
Whether you are under the gun, prepping for a massive board presentation and need flawless, color-coded organizational charts in 10 minutes, or you are trying to break out of algorithmic obscurity and build an engaging personal brand on LinkedIn with a fantasy-themed career map.
Or you just need to instantly create a viral, scroll-stopping social media hook for a new product. You now hold the ultimate cheat codes. You can visually punch way, way above your weight class. You can execute high-end multimedia campaigns, and you don't need to spend 4 years getting a graphic design degree or $10,000 renting a video studio to do it.
It represents a profound, unprecedented democratization of creative ability. It removed the technical barrier to entry for high-end execution. However, engaging with this specific material also leaves us with a significant, perhaps slightly unsettling philosophical consideration, one that stems directly from the raw capabilities outlined in these very prompts.
Oh, I like where this is going. We are moving from the technical to the philosophical. Lay it on us.
We spent a significant amount of time today discussing exactly how easy it is to engineer prompts for authenticity. The guides literally show us the exact words to use to generate an unpolished, gritty, documentary-style video. They show us how to prompt for an intimately emotional character reveal that looks incredibly human. We even discussed the master prompt for creating perfectly convincing, photorealistic, before and after transformation graphics.
Right, like the fitness weight loss reveals or the dramatic living room makeover photos that go viral all the time.
Exactly. So, if anyone, regardless of their actual skill level, budget, or ethical framework, can now use a few simple text prompts to generate a flawlessly realistic before and after transformation out of thin air, or if they can conjure a candid, shaky cam documentary-style moment of a wildlife event that never actually happened, how will we as a society redefine the fundamental concept of seeing is believing in our daily digital lives?
That is a massive question.
When the barrier to creating a perfectly convincing, emotionally resonant alternate reality drops entirely to zero, what happens to human trust when we look at a screen?
Wow, that is exactly the kind of critical question we need to be asking right now, especially as these models like Kling, Pika, and Runway get even faster and more photorealistic. It's an incredible superpower, but it completely shatters our traditional relationship with digital media. That is definitely something for you to mull over as you start experimenting with these incredible tools, applying these master prompts, and generating your own realities. Until next time, keep exploring, keep commanding the latent space, and always keep questioning what you see.